The winter capital of British government ruled the tourist chart as the queen of hills in India once. The infrastructure, the planning and the development and the touch of planning to the natural beauty with the history of British era gave Shimla a special status as a tourist destination. While the British government moved to the summer capital, Shimla, to avoid the scorching heat of North Indian plains, the summer of 2018 proved to be the blot in the reputation of this British era city. Severe crisis of water forced the government to shut Shimla off for tourists as there was virtually no water for the residents, and the hotel industry had to close their hospitality services during peak tourist season due to acute water crisis. The overkill of the tourist destination has put a question mark on the growth of tourism industry and sustainability of resources at tourist destinations. Come summer, people living in plains of North India keep hill stations like Shimla, Nainital, Dharamshala and Manali at the top of their summer holiday destination. With India tourist industry growing every year with the rate of 10% including local and foreign tourism, the influx of tourists have started putting pressure on these popular tourist destinations, due to which the civic services and the administrative infrastructure is crumbling. The influx of tourists is an excellent indicator of growth in tourism industry, but the swelling number of tourists in the peak season has raised many pertinent questions for the people involved in the tourist industry. Over-tourism or excessive tourists is well acknowledged by the officials of the Tourism Ministry of the Government of India. In an update and outlook meeting organized by Pacific Asia Tourist Association's India chapter, recently the problem of this tourism industry was discussed. Reports and pictures of the past Shimla during peak tourist season are fresh in the memory, while anyone who visits Manali has been facing long queues of vehicles due to limitation on the entry of numbers of vehicles in the city in a day. Nainital too has similar stories of overcrowding and crumbling infrastructure, and the authorities have reportedly started thinking of taking strong measures to bring this British era city back to its glory. While the Ministry of Tourism plans to convert India an year-round destination from a limited time destination from October to March, Shimla and Manali kind of limitations put a question mark on the capabilities of the industry in tackling the growth of tourism industry. The biggest challenge for the tourism industry and the ministry is to strike a balance between the availability and sustainability of the resources. The development of infrastructure and building connectivity is not enough. The growth of the tourism sector puts equal pressure on the natural resources and the environment. Locals who thrive on the tourism cannot survive without tourists. Therefore, shutting the hotels or rationing the tourists will deprive them of their source of livelihood. The growing number of tourists have created a catch-20 situation where locals can neither survive without tourists nor allow them to deplete their natural resources of survival. The choice is difficult indeed. For the sustainability and growth of tourism sector, a simultaneous planning is required to create a balance of natural resources and demand of tourists.
New destinations instead of them focusing only on the earlier frequented destinations. Connectivity is one such initiative. Once we improve the connectivity, then we will be able to take people to the new destinations. So some of the initiatives are being taken. We are also marketing these new destinations in a big way so that people just don't go to Shimla and come back, but go to other places in and around Shimla.
One related thing: is there any collaboration with the Ministry of Environment or something, because it is also putting pressure on the environment of that particular area?
Absolutely. In fact, we are going to partner with the Environment and Forest Ministry also as to how to go about this carrying capacity studies. We are already doing it they are already doing it for their wildlife sanctuaries, and this needs to be extended to such areas also.
Acknowledging this problem faced by tourism industry, Rashmi Saxena, Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, emphasized on the need to create a sustainable growth in the tourism sector so that Shimla-like situation is not repeated again.